Good afternoon. I'd like to call the City of Laredo Fine Arts and Culture Commission April meeting to order. Our first item will be the Pledge of Allegiance. The flags are behind us, behind me, to the left of all, to the right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Armando Lopez.
Present.
Melissa Amici. She's
Present.
Okay. Dr. Martha Villarreal.
Present.
Present. Gail A. Rodriguez. Absent. David Cash Vasquez. Absent. Maritza Bautista.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great. Do we have any citizens signed up for citizens' comments under section 4?
No.
No? Okay. Proceeding to number 5. Before you, you have the meeting, the minutes from our March 21st, 2024 meeting. Have you all had a chance to read those? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I so.
Moved by Dr. Villarreal. Is there a second?
I
Ms.
second.
Bautista? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect, okay. Those are items carried. Roman numeral 6, updates on current art projects. A, or the first of those two items, is the Lafayette Bridge painting and lighting public art project.
So, for the record, I'm Annalisa Perez Gomez. I am the librarian at the McKendrick Ochoa Salinas Branch Library, and I'm sitting in for Ms. Solis, our library director. So she left me with some notes, and I'll just read them out to you guys. Project is well underway now. Artists are almost done with the base coat, and the artwork will begin this week. Everyone is encouraged to go by and take a look at the progress. There are some color printouts here in the different sections. So we can pass them down,
Thank you.
Are these the
just so you
same
can
or-
see the progress so far.
Is this the same as those?
Yes.
Okay.
I love the colors.
Yeah, the colors are vibrant.
Very pretty.
I was gonna go by today and I didn't get a chance, but it's massive. It's great, it's looking beautiful.
So the project was originally scheduled to be completed by May 11th, 2024, but delays and supplies have moved up the completion date.
Wow, that's
Wait.
good.
Moved up like earlier, or moved back?
I would say back.
Oh,
Yeah.
move back,
Okay.
okay,
Yes.
we'll move back.
And do they have a projected date now? A new projected date for May?
Not that I know.
No, okay, all right.
I heard it, this is something I heard that it was gonna be before the end of May, for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, so it went up and,
Yeah.
like,
I
earlier.
heard in May,
Okay.
yeah.
But according to the notes, it's
Yeah,
moved
okay,
up.
then
yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
then
it doesn't say what
went-
date.
Okay.
I guess originally the delays moved it back, and now it's back
Yeah,
on track.
They're back on track.
Hello.
For the record, Mr. Vasquez, welcome back.
Thank you.
You've been
Vasquez,
reappointed.
welcome back.
Sit down.
Any place you would like.
Okay.
Yeah, how y'all doing?
There's a spread over there if you'd like to.
Thanks.
How are you?
Okay. You haven't missed much, all we've done is the minutes and the report, one of the reports on the bridge painting project. The summary of that is that there should be art in front of you that will show you where they are on that.
So yes, we're sharing the printouts, so.
Okay.
And it looks like it'll be done by sometime in May.
Man, they're going fast.
Yeah, and the colors are cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Moving on now to item B, which is the church murals project.
Okay, so the update is that 9 applications were received. Conflicting schedules prevented some of the committee from reviewing and evaluating the proposals, but opportunities to those that have not been able to do so will be provided by Miriam Castillo via email. A meeting for debriefing and selection of the proposals was held April 17th from 3 to 4 at Community Development. And this will be the only meeting held to go over the selection committee's final recommendations before they are presented to the board.
And we have representatives on that. Is that
Yes.
correct? It's you and Melissa
And Gail.
and Gail.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you're in the loop, you know what's going on?
Yeah, Melissa, do you wanna give an update about that from yesterday's meeting?
Yeah, I think what all we can say because I know, it's still,
Yeah.
it's not official, but Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, I guess we could just say that we did get those, there were 9 applicants, some from in town, some from out of town. There was a clause in the, on the scoring that preference would be given to, local artists. And, I'm happy to say that I think the committee came to a really nice recommendation for TERS where we could maximize the funding available. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was $50,000 worth of funding that TERS had allocated for these murals, and our recommendation was to move forward with 5 artists and have 5 murals in that area, in that designated area, kind of by La Posada, and then over by Chicantalo Walkway and some other areas over in that way. I believe we will present these recommendations to the TERS at their board meeting on special called board meeting on May 21st. And there was some really great selections. We also kind of discussed the possibility of either one of the organizations, arts organizations, or the commission, or perhaps both of us and the Economic Development Department holding a type of a workshop so that we could help to better prepare the local talent for these types of proposals. I think one of the reoccurring themes that we're seeing in all the different places that we work, independently or individually as artists, or with artists, is that there's kind of a need for some training and some education on how to fill out these proposals. And so Miriam Castillo was really excited about the possibility of us kind of working together to do something like that. And I think it'll only strengthen the local talent that we have and help to prepare them to be competitive, so that when big mural projects like the Lafayette Bridge project comes up, we do have a qualified pool to pull from. So I think that was something that Gail and Marisa and I were really excited and proud to be kind of part of that. So Marisa, am I missing anything else?
No. The only thing is that, well, you already mentioned it, we're we're presenting to the TERS board, and ultimately they have the final say of our recommendations. But yeah, I was really excited to review all those, and yeah. Thank you, Melissa.
Got it. Thank you. No, thanks, Ted. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to Roman numeral 7, items for discussion and possible action. Section A is the utility box art program.
So maybe I should.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we did present at City Council a very informal proposal for the utility box art project. The thing is, it was very incomplete, and I think that moving forward, we just need to have something that's more inclusive of all the districts. Because right now, I think we're still pending some commission members. So not all the districts were represented in that presentation. We did let the City Council know that this is something that's really important, that we hope that they fill in the positions. Because we want to get this project moving forward, and we just can't. So there was no action taken. So the reason why I wanted us to bring it back up is just so we can go ahead and prepare a more inclusive proposal, and encourage everybody who's in the room now to really follow up with your City Council member so you can discuss locations. We talked about three utility boxes per district for now, because this is more like phase 1 of the project. And so if you all can identify those, if our commission members can identify those utility boxes, so that way we can go ahead and present it to City Council, hopefully next month. So they can actually vote on it, because they weren't able to.
But in order for them to do so, they need to have somebody representing them.
Exactly. So there's still things missing. Hopefully we'll get, I just don't know. We did tell them, if you need help finding someone, we can make recommendations.
Right.
So that's something else that we can do, I guess. Nobody seemed opposed to it.
Who's missing appointments right now?
The mayor,
Richie Rangel and
Mhm.
Ruben Gutierrez. So I just need names. I can contact them just like I contacted,
Right.
but I need names. I'm hoping that Marisa will be able to give me that name
Yeah.
or she was gonna call.
Melissa, can you hear Dr. Villarreal?
Yeah, she was gonna
Oh,
call
okay.
her friend. That's on the.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit before the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, I will reach out to Jorge Santana, and maybe he would be a good representative for the mayor, just because he's kind of from both sides, and maybe that would be a nice
Yeah, that would be great.
perspective.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if anybody knows anybody that you think would be a good person to bring into the board, that would be great.
Oh, we had also reached out to Gabriela Mendoza Garcia,
Right.
and she is interested. I think it just, I need to, I was supposed to follow up with her. She was going to double check on the days that she has classes, because that's one of the biggest, issues she has. So that's one of the things that, but it would be nice to have somebody from dance. I know there's also, I forget her last name, but Nayeli is also a dance
Lopez.
instructor at Tammy U. So maybe we could reach out to her as well, just so we can have different disciplines represented. I don't know. I can't really hear everybody that well. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm repeating what you guys are saying.
No, we definitely need somebody in music, representing the music section. I don't know that we have any in mind, but I can get somebody for sure. Let me see. Comes to mind. I have a couple that I worked with when I was at VMT. They were great musicians. Very interested in doing things for the community. I can reach out and see if I can get one of them to want to join.
That would be great. Yeah, so I think once we get those positions filled, then we just have to identify those utility boxes so we can present to city council and hopefully they approve. There were some other things that came up and now I can't remember, and Gail's not here, we presented together, about the amounts, cause we had said $3,000 per box, but some of the council members thought that might be a little too low. So I think it would also just be a matter of us, when we do the next presentation, to maybe have a better budget per box, and that way we have a better budget to present to them as well. But that's it.
Do we have any idea when we're presenting again?
So what I did notice when I was scouting for boxes is that there are different sizes. So I think maybe identifying the square footage on them, and we can come up with a budget that way. I don't know how else to really do it, to be honest.
Okay, but we need to have a plan. We need to
Yes.
say, we've identified so many boxes, some are this size,
Right.
some whatever, and then,
Right.
let's see if we can go from there, but have something to present to.
Yeah, I think once we select the boxes, whoever selects them should also take note if it's a smaller box or a larger box. And that way our proposal, our budget proposal is it's better.
Better,
'Cause we
yes.
really didn't. I
Yeah.
mean, we gave them a ballpark, which was like $43,000 or something. But I think that's gonna change based on the
Yeah.
size of the boxes.
Is that it for the report? Okay, moving on to item B, Caminarte.
Well, before
I'm
we
sorry.
move on, yeah,
I'm sorry.
should we come up with, or who would be tasked with pushing that forward as far as the pricing and what?
I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. We can have someone that's leading that. Anybody here volunteer?
He
Well-
who brings it up.
Wasn't trying to. But I remember there was a map, but didn't we already have a map selected? I remember before the switch and stuff, there was a map that was already laid out
There is a map.
all over the city that had been sort of
Yeah, they have-
I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm sorry, you're right, there was a map that showed where they all were, and then the next phase that we went into is we drove around looking at those areas and then made those recommendations to our council members. But yes, you're correct. There was a map that showed where all of them were around town. But then we drew around so that we could describe kind of a little bit, you know, pick out some like that were in maybe more trafficked areas or something like that. So we did kind of whittle that down for the first phase, like Marisa mentioned.
Ms. Amici, were you able to
Yes.
were you able to go to all the areas or just certain areas?
No, I just went with my I just did my, what I spoke about with my council member was beginning, and I only worked in my district,
Okay.
District 3, and I identified areas that I feel, which is the height, well, part of it is the height. So I spoke with Councilwoman Melissa Figueroa, and we talked about, okay, let's start in this area and identify them in areas that are high traffic, and like one of the areas was across the street from Quickie Bakery, which is kind of an iconic, you know, old Laredo business, so we thought it might be kind of fun to have something there. And then phase 2, we'll go out, she'll tell Councilwoman Figueroa, Melissa Figueroa will let me know which area she wants to move into first. But we thought these like a little bit more visible, more kind of central areas of the district was where we're going to start. So that was just the conversation I had with
Well,
her.
but Gail was supposed to do the same. Was she able to do so?
Yes.
Gail?
She did. She went and so did Marisa.
Yeah.
I know for sure. And then Mando was able to get recommendations, or at least 1 or 2 from his councilman of where he would like to see them. So I do think we have some pretty definite areas in mind for at least those districts.
Yeah, my councilman gave me one idea that I forwarded, and then he was gonna pick another one.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So the districts that are not represented, we did not present on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get together with my council person
Yeah.
so that we can.
So right now the magic number is like 3 right now to start per district. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be.
And then maybe we can all
And the
just
mayor.
chime in on the mayor's and Richie's district until they appoint somebody. So
Yeah.
6 additional.
Mhm.
I can do that.
And the mayor. So there's 3.
We have a clinic in
9.
District 2,
Right.
so
Okay.
I'll be out in South, part of South, and I'll
Okay.
check it out.
Yeah.
I think there's some good areas there. Loop 20. There's like Loop 20 and which is Richie's district. Loop 20 and 83. I think there's some boxes there.
So they did tell us, I should say this, they did tell us that we are not allowed to have any of them that are text dot. So
Okay.
none of
Text out,
the 20
yeah, that was something that we talked about
Yeah.
last time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
unfortunately.
Okay. So I guess
Oh,
Yeah, because
you know
then
what?
it would be full of, I mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine what the loop would look like if they did that?
yeah.
Go ahead, Melissa.
I'm sorry, guys. I spoke with Melissa about the text dot thing, and she seemed to think that if we could work, that she's working with text dot on the project with Corpus, and that she thought that she would be able to talk to them about allowing us to use the spaces, that we wouldn't be on the road if it really becomes an issue, if that's what we wanted. She just mentioned that she felt pretty strongly that she could talk to people at TechStart and we could paint those as well if we wanted to. I just mentioned everything that had been discussed, and that was her response.
Okay, well, that would be good.
Well then, what I'll do is I guess I'll pull the map for right now. I guess, has everybody submitted their recommendations?
No.
No,
So then we just have everybody submit their recommendations for their respective district and I'll take care of the extra 2.
Okay.
Oh,
Is that
actually
what-
3.
Yeah, there's 3 because it's also the
The
mayor.
mayor and.
Well, that's why I'll take care of mine and then also the mayor and Richie's.
Okay.
Okay.
And then everybody else will submit or just,
I'll get somebody for the Gutierrez.
Okay. And I can
also we're
put the
missing 3.
presentation to the, yeah, we're missing 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you'll take care of Rubens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alright.
Yeah, so then if we do that, then we can potentially present to city council next month, hopefully. if not next month,
Excellent.
cause it's already almost May.
Right.
Hopefully next month, for sure. Goal, that's the goal.
Anything else on that, Everybody got their questions answered? Okay. Moving on to the next one, which is Caminarte.
So I have a summary of the CDB suggestions from the last meeting. And I believe Joel Vasquez was here presenting. So commission and or Caminarte needs to provide a flyer and CVB will help distribute it to all hotels. And then the other point was CVB was unable to find a copy of a Caminarte logo in their archives, but found 2 different copies of maps created for Caminarte from 2015 and 2017. The CVB current marketing agency does not have it as part of their scope of work to create such a map. And they advise the commission and or Caminarte to provide CVB with the map so that they can help promote and distribute it. And then just a note here about Ms. Bautista regarding transportation. I don't know if you have an update on that.
Well, no, I don't. But the last time that we were here as a group, I had just suggested that maybe we can get creative to present a public artwork, to present or to propose a art car or art bus or art vehicle to the city as a public art project in hopes that it would get funded. But I think that there's other, like in the LAMP it says that it has to be brick and mortar. So we just have to come up with another solution for the transportation to move people around during Caminarte. And I think that's just something we can talk about and see if maybe that's something we want to be a part of to come up with a potential solution. But yeah, I think that we have a lot of barriers right now.
I know we talked about the trolley and the little bus that we used to have
Yeah.
way back. Do you know what happened to that?
So that's why when CBB was here, they were updating us on that, and they did have a trolley, but now with Metro, like they just do not allow, they just don't allow for their routes, their buses to go out of route.
So I can kind of speak to that a
Can
little
I
bit.
Yeah.
Really quickly. So they're federally purchased. The buses are purchased by federal dollars. Federal dollars don't allow for the buses to be used for anything else. So if we would want a public bus or a bus to be used for events like Caminarte or like they used to with the Jalapeno, Park and Ride, that kind of thing, they would need to be purchased with city dollars. So it's kind of a crazy dynamic, but that's what would need to happen. And the one that could kind of speak to that a lot more would be the executive director for Metro, who's presented the idea to some, but again, you go back
But
to...
you know, the trolley was it really considered a bus? It was kind of open. It was not like a public bus.
That trolley is still used in downtown
Mhm.
Laredo. It's
They still
owned
use-
by
Can I
Metro.
just add that
Yes.
Larry Friedman is talking with and exploring that option with Councilmember Alyssa Figueroa. He made an appointment
Oh,
to meet
Larry.
with her, and they're supposed to be discussing this. Larry's involved because he is a member of the cultural district, he's a board member of the cultural district, and he felt pretty strongly that he would be able to try to see how they could make something like that happen. So I don't know where that conversation is right now. I just know that was the last update from Larry about that. So I know what was said at that meeting. Yeah, that's just kind of, I think there's still discussion being had on that. I'm not saying that it will result in anything, but I think that the conversation is still going on.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad he's pursuing it. So then we should wait for that update from Larry to see how else we can move forward, right?
Yeah, I can reach out to him and just kind of see if that's just still, if they're still having that conversation, if they finish that conversation. But yes, I can follow up with him and see where that's at.
and update Maria with that so she can let the rest of the commission know.
Thank you.
And I think I'm gonna have to cut out of the meeting. I'm at another event here at the center. Are there other action items that we need to vote on, Mando? Do I need to stay on to vote for anything, or?
It doesn't look like anything except the next item, which is review of the Laredo Public Arts Master Plan for possible proposals of public art projects. The other two are items that I think that are informational more than anything else. So C would be that, review of the Laredo Public Art Master Plan for possible proposal of public art projects.
Is there a specific action? It's just a review of the public art proposal, or?
I think this item is more geared towards us like coming up with a new proposal for city council. I mean, the utility art box project, as was mentioned before, has been taking a long time just to kind of move forward. And I don't know, I think that this item is more for discussion actually, to see if we ourselves can come up with a new proposal so we can start working on that so we can present it to city council.
Okay, Marita, could I defer to you with this and the conversation we had with with Miriam yesterday about possibly doing murals in our districts, looking and having the council members identify a city building in their district, and maybe we could have an artist from that district, that conversation as a possible another project, or I don't know, that was just
totally
something I know
fine.
we talked about. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can definitely share more on that. And then also Gail, just so everybody knows, Gail said that she's almost here, and she was also a part of that conversation.
Okay.
So we can definitely share more on that.
Okay, then I'm gonna sign out, but just, you can call me if there's, I doubt there'll be anything, but if you do call me, I'll answer, okay?
Before you sign off, just real quickly, on the item of the transportation for Caminarte, there is this website that advertises a thing called the Little Art Bus out of Fort Worth. It looks like it may be a private entity, but it might be a place to start. So it's called the Little Art Bus, and it is a little bus in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay, great, thanks.
That sounds so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you share that with us, and I can maybe pass along to the cultural district as well,
Sure.
and maybe Larry can include that in any conversation he has with Alyssa as a possible alternative where the city could help.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Okay, I'll see you next month for sure. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So definitely like something else that I personally have been thinking about is I would love to see more public sculpture. And so, you know, we've been working on murals and they're beautiful, I love them. And this little art bus is not little at all. It looks really cool. So that's really exciting. No, I was just thinking like maybe we can identify also some locations where we could potentially propose public works that are more like sculpture. Like thinking of like either interactive or I don't know, I mean, I can do the research, which I don't have today, but just really thinking of how we can start incorporating other types of public art into the city. I know that the one that they just installed of the founder of Laredo, you know, in my opinion, looks really sad because I think that there's conversations in city council about moving it. Like the mayor wants to move it from that location that it is right now. I don't know if y'all are familiar with what I'm talking about. It's a giant monument. I don't know the size of it, but it's like it was created by Armando. Yeah, Hinojosa. It's massive, but it's completely covered with a black plastic bag. So it just looks
Why?
really surreal.
Why is it covered?
I think because they want to move it, and they installed it and they never really inaugurated it, or they never really presented it. And it's just, I mean, I drove by there yesterday and or whatever day it was windy, and it looks like a giant black flag, like blowing in the wind. It looks really sad.
Where is it located?
It's right on it's on the first block where the bridge is. What street is that, Lincoln or Hidalgo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right, I mean, it's
Lincoln
right
Park.
there, yeah. It's massive, it's like on a giant, like,
Pedestal?
concrete pedestal. You know, it's really tall, but it's covered with a plastic bag. Which, you know, punto y aparte, that's like another conversation, but I just really think we need to, you know, maybe think or consider proposing like sculpture, to the city.
Who could we address about the situation with this particular? Because I mean, we are the Fine Arts Commission. We should be asking questions. We should
Right.
know what's going on. Somebody should let us in on it and see if we can do anything to speed up whatever they're going to do with it, because it could be there another year.
Yeah, so it came up as an item at maybe like a couple meetings. The mayor it was an item that the mayor proposed, and I mean, there was a lot of discussion because it's, you know, it costs like $60,000 to install it, and it would cost an additional $60,000 to move it. And from what I recall from that meeting, don't quote me, is that they want to have like sessions for residents to say what they want to do. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I agree.
It could be another year.
I think
We love to pay double for things.
yeah, like my personal opinion is I don't think it needs to be moved, but it does not need to be covered with a plastic bag. Like, it looks really horrible. It's really, really
It's
sad.
sad. It is a piece of art.
It's
should
been
be
there for months now.
It should be exposed so that people can see it, whether they're gonna leave it there or not.
It's been
It
there
should
for
be out
months.
open so that everybody can see it.
The news report from October 2023 indicates that it was crafted by Armando Hinojosa. The statue stands 10 feet tall, is cast in bronze, and weighs 2,500 pounds.
Oh, gosh.
And it says, the installation of this monument comes as part of the first phase of the Boulevard of the Americas
That's
project.
unfortunate.
Am I in time?
Yes.
Yes,
That saved you a seat.
especially,
Okay, perfect.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it said, the installation of this monument comes as part of the first phase of the Boulevard of the Americas project. This comprehensive master plan
Ms. Gill.
aims to create a more pedestrian-friendly downtown by widening sidewalks, revitalizing the area, and fostering business growth. So maybe it's that they haven't had the kickoff or whatever,
I
you know.
guess that's what it is.
Right, so I think when they installed it, there was an issue of it being installed there, so they never inaugurated it. And they just left it covered with a big old plastic bag. And now the bag, this photo that I took was like over a month ago. Now, if you go by, the bag is just
It's
like,
flopping all over the place.
What is it, I'm sorry, we're talking about?
we're talking about the monument of the founder of Laredo.
Uh,
That's covered with a plastic bag.
Why?
Because they
We
want to
never
move it.
inaugurated them.
Maybe we should just go
Where did
and
they
remove
put
it.
it? I'm sorry.
Maybe we should just go and
Let's do
remove
it as an act of rebellion, I like that.
And then we'll remove the plastic and we'll just stand up in front of
The
the sculpture.
commission hall.
Hey.
In the front.
Where is it right now?
It's the first block,
Coming back from the bridge.
Yeah, coming back from Mexico. So it's like the first, like the welcome,
And it's in the middle?
it's in the first block, yeah, it's right.
It says the statue now
Maybe it's
stands
not in
at
the
the
middle.
entrance of Laredo,
I don't think it's in.
extending a warm welcome to visitors, particularly those arriving from Mexico to the Juarez Lincoln International Bridge.
So this conversation, Gail, is related to us, discussing item, C, review of the Laredo Public Arts Master Plan for possible proposals for public art projects.
Okay.
Melissa suggested that we share the conversation that we had yesterday at the subcommittee meeting about the murals in the different districts.
Oh, right.
And then my suggestion is that I think we should propose also sculptural works.
Right.
And that's why we started talking about
Okay.
this. Do you wanna share about that project of the murals?
Oh, what we did yesterday?
Well, the idea that for, the commission to propose to city council for each of the
Oh, yeah,
districts.
we were talking about, you know, the TRZ,
Yeah, the church.
Just one.
submissions, right? And so, yeah, and then we were saying, obviously, we would like more murals, and we have to go through the LAMP, and see what is proposed, because there's a lot of money, that was designated, the 2% that was designated that we haven't used, right? And so we were trying to come up with ideas about what we could possibly do, or what we could suggest.
Mhm.
And, where was I going with this? And, I said that maybe one of the ideas, since the 2% has to be used on public buildings, right? We know that. And so, when they have to construct a building for the city of Laredo, 2% goes to having art at that building. And I think they probably haven't had any new construction, so
I
that
don't think it
hasn't
has to
been
go
used.
on that building. I think it just has to go on a
No.
city-owned building.
No, it has to go, when they have a construction for a new building, that's the part of the, ¿cómo se llama?
Capital improvements.
Yeah, capital improvement, it has to be around that building, on that building, or have something in that
The
building.
2% that comes from that construction?
Yeah, yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I thought it was more broad. May I borrow
I
the
think
lamp?
I think that's
No,
what,
sorry?
The lamp.
Oh.
May I borrow the lamp?
I thought that was the wording, so
Gracias.
that every new construction of a capital improvement project would have an art entity or art something involved.
Mhm.
I was pretty sure, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so what we talked about was, what if there were projects that we could come up with that maybe each council person could say they have discretionary funds? What if they were able to say, okay, I'll give X amount of discretionary funds for an art something in my district, right?
Right.
And we were talking about, well, what if there was a capital improvement thing in that district that we could say part comes from there and part comes from them, or, so we were discussing that yesterday. Ways to find, ways to put art in everybody's district. Maybe the discretionary funds they have could be used for that. And then there were some other ideas that were going back and forth too at that meeting. It was really good.
Right.
I remember the discussions about the 2%, and I was almost positive, I'm almost positive it said that when there is the construction of a capital improvement project building, that the 2% that goes for that has to have something
In that.
there.
So let
On
me read
site.
this. Let me read this. It says, capital improvement project, a new construction, expansion, renovation, or replacement project for a city-owned building, facility, asset, or infrastructure. Project costs can include land, engineering, architectural planning and design, and any other contract service. Due to the fact that these projects are funded by bonds or other debt, the project must be a permanent improvement with a useful life of at least 20 years or the bond term. A capital project may also be a purchase of major equipment, a major maintenance or rehabilitation project for existing facilities, or a major standalone public artwork. These three project types must have a useful life of at least 10 years. All projects funded for a given fiscal year are included in the City Council approved annual CIP plan. All identified future projects, funded and unfunded, are included in the approved 5-year CIP plan. That's all it says.
But see, you have to read the part where it designates 2%.
So
I'm pretty sure that was where that wording comes in.
2% for art. The allocation for public art from a capital improvement project budget equals to 2% of the total construction cost budget for an eligible CIP project.
Right,
But,
What is an eligible
Right.
CIP project?
okay, so here the definition for that is a project for which the 2% for art budget allocation is required per city ordinance 20190177. Eligible CIP projects are those funded wholly or in part by monies appropriated by the city. These projects are listed in the City of Laredo capital improvement plans, annual plan and 5-year plan. These specific project types are identified as eligible by the ordinance. Construct, improve, or renovate a building, including its pertinent facilities, a decorative or commemorative structure, a park, a street, a sidewalk, a parking facility, a utility, or any portion thereof within the city limits or under the jurisdiction of the city. So I don't think it has to be specifically in that construction spot. It excludes underground improvements. I think as long as it's city owned, I think that's what I'm understanding.
but why would you undertake the construction of a city-owned building or renovate one or et cetera, and then not include an art something if there's a designated 2% for exactly that? See,
Because the 2% goes into a major, like a one fund, right?
yes, but I believe what they distinguished only was that it can't be funded by bonds. It would have to, I'm not sure if that was eliminated, the bond part, but I think it might have been. But, so what I'm saying is, the opportunities of the 2% were, oh, there's this building that the city of Laredo is constructing, and we would like to have our 2% art there. Oh, there's a renovation over here, now we can put our 2% art there. In other words, that's what I understood, but I could be wrong. And I mean, that was the exciting part of it, that we would be able to have some type of art involved in city construction, buildings, right? Buildings, whatever it is, because there was a whole list you just mentioned that weren't
Right.
buildings. I don't know, maybe we need to clarify.
Right, I think we do. And also I have a question because this came up yesterday. For fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 28 through 28,
Mhm.
perdón, I'm having a hard time seeing here. There's $800,000 listed on this
Mhm.
budget source, but is there more funds? Do y'all know? Because I'm like the newest member here.
The 800,000 for the 2%?
Yeah, like here it says 2024 to 2028.
Mm-hmm.
It says $800,000, but then yesterday when we were meeting about the TERS, Melissa said that there was a bigger
Yeah,
fund.
yeah, I think it's been.
Is that accurate?
Maybe
Do y'all know?
that's what they had when they started.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they haven't added.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Because I remember that was what it was in the very
the
beginning.
very beginning.
So there's supposed to be more money going in.
Because we could get an updated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might not be
Finance
correct.
department.
And then also just, I mean, I can reach out to Elia maybe just to email her and ask her for clarification.
Yeah, maybe she would,
On this.
she would know because she really worked with the city to put that together.
I don't know, are there any thoughts on that? I mean,
On what?
on.
I think, well, my thought is that if that's not accurate, we need to know that.
Yeah,
Right.
the money amount, yeah.
Maybe we could have a standing agenda item that would update us as to whether that fund has been, there have been deposits made to that fund in the month since we've last met.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the utility box art project.
Mhm.
Those boxes are spread out throughout the city.
Mhm.
So if we're using the 2% funds for that, then that means that we can use the 2% funds for other
Yes,
public arts that are not necessarily coming from that particular capital improvement.
right.
That's the only thing I want clarification on, because I feel like,
Well, No, I think that's well said, but I think we do need to have the amount there, because if they built a building
Yeah,
and they didn't put the 2%, we should be able to use it on something else.
yeah.
In other words, if the
But-
city didn't,
That's a
if
good
the
point.
city didn't comply
But
with
do
the,
we know if they built or renovated or et cetera, anything that we haven't
well, and that's probably.
done anything to put a piece of art there or
Right.
have something there?
And I think that's probably another standing report that we should have every month, which is, will the city agree if they're gonna, let's say they built a gym or something like that, and they already have a plan for some public art, that it would be nice if it ran through us.
Well, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah,
the 2% I thought was supposed to be run.
no, what I'm saying is,
Oh.
they decide to put, they decide to comply and do something on the library, let's say.
Okay,
Right.
Okay, but as part of the Fine Arts Commission, part of that master plan, shouldn't we be able to see what the city's doing at a building
Right.
so that we're not excluded from that process?
true.
Absolutely.
And it may be just as a need to know, but so that we can tell people,
Right.
when they ask us what do we do, is, hey, well, let me tell you, this library's having this project, this one's having a mural, it's part of their construction budget, and so
Right.
forth. So maybe a little bit more of like an accounting to us, so that we can understand, because if they're gonna take the money from that fund, we should know that too.
Yeah.
Right. That's a very good point.
Okay, that was kind of convoluted, right? But it would be number one, that we get
The
a
lawyer
running,
did.
a
Yeah.
running account per month of any new deposits and what the current balance is. Number two, if there's been any public art
Or building
or
or something.
installed in any building, that we haven't.
Or renovation
Yeah,
or
or
whatever,
something
yeah.
that we weren't, apprised of, so that we can know if there's public art going up.
I think, I don't know why, but I think the whole point was when we lobbied to get that 2%, we were not allotted the 2% to the Arts and Culture Commission. It was allotted to the way they structured it, everything you just read. So that we had no control of that money. But I do believe there was something that said we would be involved in any art project,
I think
that
that's
it would
the
run
ordinance.
through the Arts and Culture Commission. Our involvement would be to be able to have some input or make the call to artists or, be involved in what art might be there. I think there's something.
Yeah,
in-
it's because they showed us the El Paso plan
Yeah,
and how El Paso was putting
yeah,
art in all of these public buildings.
right,
And they ran it through their commission,
Right.
through this kind of a master plan.
Right.
right,
And so it was for us to be involved,
yeah,
that if they were gonna have a mural, that we would put out we
Yeah.
would be the ones that make a
Yeah.
recommendation to city council, if you're gonna put art in this building, it came through us and we were able to see it and vet it, and this is what we're recommending, this all
yeah,
this.
we were in a meeting when we were putting this plan together. Remember Martinez, Dr. Martinez was there?
Yeah.
Remember we met
We
downtown?
met at City Hall. with
And
them.
we went over all of the things that they were trying to put together for the 2%, to make it
Yeah.
happen.
And what they were arguing about was that because it goes exactly to your point, that they did not feel that it needed to be tied to the particular project that was being funded. Because and it was funny, but it was like, well, okay, if we do a new sewer plant,
Yeah,
do you want us to put public art out there?
Yeah,
And we're going, no, but we wanna but that money we should be able to utilize it someplace else in the city.
right, right.
So that point was
Yeah,
specifically
that point did come up.
discussed.
Okay.
The people there were staff,
Mhm.
and then, what's the name of the gentleman that works in a lot of that? It was the guy from the plant, he became an assistant city manager, and now retired.
Utilities plant or something?
By Sue,
What was it?
by Sue or something like that.
Oh, Rio,
Yes.
yeah.
And then there was, one gentleman from like economic development or someplace like that was also there.
Yeah, there were city members there in that meeting. And he and I attended as part of the Arts and
I
Culture.
think to your point, to both y'all's points, is that there's construction that's currently happening right now, and there's even construction happening obviously in downtown, right? And so, the Southern Hotel is one of them. And, I mean, if there's a mural right there.
Yeah.
I mean, so some of that I think pertains to this discussion,
Yeah.
right? And how the fund may have been impacted or been used for that project. So.
Well, like that, the Narvaez home, the Narvaez, an elder person living facilities, that had a specific provision for the public art that Mr. Castellon did there,
Oh, right.
and it came to us.
It came through us. We
And so
voted.
that's what we were expecting
was
on
be-
every other
That was
construction
before
project.
I get it.
they took away our
But see, that was a federal project,
purpose in life.
and the federal, and the federal project
Yeah.
called for that, for us
Yes.
to be involved.
And we voted on who would get the project based on the call to artists and all the, every applications that came in, yes.
But since that was built with federal funds for federal
Right.
housing,
Right,
that they had that specific requirement that it go through the Fine Arts Commission.
yeah,
Right.
So, point well taken.
yeah,
And then there was years during COVID when none of the money was used.
no.
Mm. So there should be a surplus.
Yeah, so there should be.
Right. So that's why I'm like, well, what is the real amount
Yeah.
that we're dealing with?
Yeah, so it'd be, okay, I mean, it's easy, they can run,
Yeah.
finance can run it up and provide it to us. And then the second is if there's any current art projects that the city is funding,
Right.
and whether they have been, if they have been sent to us for review as part of this master plan. And our consultant would be the one to answer a lot of that.
Right, and yeah. Okay.
Okay. I don't think we need board action to ask the city to do that. All right, one final thing, on the placement of that statue. There was a subsequent meeting in February that, because they put it up last year. Well, there was concern by one of the council persons about that placement being a distraction for the 5-lane traffic on both sides and accidents possibly occurring, and the city council saying that they're gonna try to move it to San Agustin Plaza. That discussion would come up. Yeah.
Interesting.
That the council, they were under the understanding, it says, Council Member blank blank brought up the importance of safety most of all if the statute sit at its current location in front of the Juarez Lincoln National Bridge. She brings up the dangers of its location due to all the vehicles coming and going from it, with the street as wide as 5 lanes, even with crosswalks, may be a risk. Ultimately, leaders agreed to a relocation to be discussed and reaffirmed at a later date.
So I guess that's the conversation I heard, the post discussion.
That was February 10th.
Yeah.
That was about what, no, I'm sorry, what
About this
Yeah, that
monument.
statue, yeah. That
But,
monument.
but the people that were doing it, which was Able City, indicated that it was part of,
Yeah, the big.
that longly neglected area that was supposed to be the entrance.
The 4 blocks
Right.
that we've been talking about for years.
Right.
The other problem is, there's been a lot of talk about having those 4 blocks have some kind of access so people could go and see the art located there, but there's no possible way that could ever
Too
happen.
dangerous.
Because that's a thoroughfare and it
Yeah.
can't happen, right?
Well, it can happen, but it can't be the art that they're talking about.
Exactly. And so even having a statue there, I mean, somebody's gonna wanna walk over there and look at it, right? That's kind of iffy.
I did.
I mean,
right?
I would love
But-
to see some lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the master plan, there's talk about lighting, right? And I think some of the funding can be used for lighting. Look, I lived in
in DFW for 2 years. Downtown Fort Worth has a beautiful skyline. They utilize their business improvement district and their church and their downtowns to light up the areas. Dallas, if anybody's been
Yeah.
in Dallas, right? San Antonio's doing the same. I think we can do the same for downtown. We've done the Laredo letters before through this commission, but I think if we take it a step further where we create these letters that maybe light up, then now we get people stopping and taking pictures and tagging the area. I mean, that's where it really turns into an explosive piece of art when you have people actually stopping and interacting with the piece. And the 4 blocks, I mean, lend themselves to something like that.
Something, but people cannot, you know, because I'm downtown all the time and I come from sometimes the Mines Road. You're talking about a thoroughfare into Mexico.
Yeah.
You're talking about, they block the streets during certain holidays because the traffic is horrible. You can't even get where you're going. I just don't see, I mean, I would love there to be something there, but how do you interact with that? Because all there is traffic. It's just traffic.
Well, there would need to be, what would need to happen is this would involve obviously TxDOT and the feds and everybody out under the sun that deals with traffic, right? And there needs to be a creation of parking there, a parking element, I know, right? Like, how will we do that, right? Well, there would need to be like some sort of vertical parking or some sort of, some kind of parking with obviously blockades or some way to manage it. And it's possible because there's a section in downtown Dallas has a very similar flow to it.
Is that DD Plaza?
Yeah,
That's JFK.
the JFK area.
Okay, but
You're talking about heavy traffic flow, and it is heavy populated with pedestrians,
Right.
vendors. I mean, it's a wonderful place.
Okay, the only thing I'm gonna tell you is, this is not just the city of Laredo, this is Customs and Border Protection, and that's their bridge. I'm a US Customs broker, I know how they get involved with their bridges. I don't see them, that just seems to me like we're talking about something that is practically impossible. If you stop the flow of traffic, for any reason, it's dangerous, and I just don't see it being allowed.
What if we were to barricade the middle streets of the 4 blocks?
Wow, and then, you know,
And
they
then
do
you
that.
really stop the traffic.
They do
Well,
that
not
when
necessarily.
they do that, the police come and barricade certain streets when it's Mexican holidays, so that you cannot get onto that part of the thoroughfare, and they do it all the time. I mean, for Cinco de Mayo or whatever, the other Los Muertos, I don't know, certain Mexican holidays, because it's congested from, I don't know, Saunders, all the way. You can't even get there.
Yeah.
But I just don't see, I mean, I would love to see something done there, but not interactive. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not ever gonna be parking there. There's not ever gonna be a way for anybody to walk over there and access that. They had done this thing about putting an overwalk, right? I remember somebody had a plan, I don't know if it was Able City or who, a lot of designs about putting overwalks where then you had access to come down and see the art or whatever it was. I just don't know, it's dangerous, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
And I don't think it's up to us.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely not up to us.
absolutely.
But I think the response was, well, for us to find out, well, what's happening
Yeah.
with that statue and what are they gonna do now?
Oh, true.
The first news article indicates when they unveiled this, that there was a master plan for the area.
Right,
Okay, it didn't say whether it was pedestrian, you could access it or whatever, because, I mean, that statue seems to be something like just, if you're coming from Mexico, you see the founder of Laredo, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically it.
But maybe.
That's why it was so
lights like
big.
They have in,
Lighting,
the
I mean,
lighting,
if
they have
anything,
beautiful
lighting, and you're only gonna see it when you drive by. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not to get down and peruse,
Yeah.
it's dangerous, but maybe it's just to be seen driving by with
One-
lighting.
One block, all parking, we demolish one block, and then the rest of the
Oh
three.
my God.
Why not?
They would never do that.
Underground.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it allows for that.
Yeah.
Underground parking. I mean, the area, and I'm sure it's probably, it's something that it can be done.
Aren't there
What?
tunnels in down? I know this is a whole different. I don't want to get into it, but
Right.
aren't there tunnels in downtown already?
I don't
But-
know.
But
I think if you try to get the remains of the Tomas Sanchez, you'll find them. But they're not controlled by any public entity. All right, moving on to number D, letter D. So are you satisfied with those things that we're asking to be put on the agenda? Ms. Bautista?
I think so.
Okay, all right,
I
good.
mean, how
Okay.
does everybody else feel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, section D, recognition of Rosa Maria de Llano, the city of Laredo's first poet laureate at a future city council meeting.
Oh, yeah, because we just
Definitely.
barely recognized her the day we introduced,
Okay.
Raquel.
When is the next city council meeting? Maybe we could do it at the next one.
We can look it up.
You know, one of the things that I mean, again, just, that one is for the whole city to see, but we do have the 27th, the City of Laredo Poetry Festival, and it would be nice just to include an item there recognizing her. At that
Where's
event.
that going to take place?
It's
This
next Saturday at 1:30.
Oh,
Where is it taking place?
Here at the library, right next to the
Oh,
public.
okay,
April
yeah.
Yeah, that's the poetry contest.
You all have a slam this Friday at my
Mhm.
gallery, right?
We do.
I just gave the keys to B and said, keep them.
Yes. They just told us, so they're all happy.
So I just have a note here saying that, the commission needs to request that a city council member add the recognition to the agenda.
okay. I mean, does anybody want to?
Yeah, absolutely. She
Or-
deserves it. She's
Yeah,
been
no, yeah, for sure.
amazing.
I agree.
Okay, so does anybody want to reach out to their particular council member, or do we?
I mean, I can reach out to mine.
Okay.
I can reach out to my.
Yeah, as long as like one or two gets it.
I'll
yeah.
just find out when the next meeting is, and that way I can tell Councilwoman too.
And then I guess through you, we can reach out to Roxanne and the people putting together the City of Laredo Poetry Festival. I believe it begins at 1 o'clock or 1:30 on 1 o'clock on Saturday, I think it is. Here at the
This coming Saturday?
Yeah, no, not this one, the 27th.
Ah, okay.
I won't be here. I'm
That's
sad
okay.
about it.
But I mean, we should all try and show up. right?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
I would be tickled pink, because I won first place this year.
I know. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
I keep asking Mary every year, I said, hey, am I like disqualified? And she goes, you're not on the library board. I said, okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll reach out to Alyssa.
Okay, so that covers that. I guess we haven't had any announcements. Anybody have any announcements before we go to the last item, which is scheduling the next meeting? Any announcements that anybody has? Gail, you have an exhibit up right now,
I have
right?
an exhibit May, what is the first week, Friday of May. And it's going to be La Femme that we have up right now, plus local exhibitors. We've asked them to submit their pieces for part of this exhibit, La Femme. So they'll have a room to their own for local exhibitors. So, yeah, that's part of the Camino de Art Walk.
But where's this, at your?
Gallery 12.
Gallery.
And Casa Ortiz will be open, and the Center for the Arts will be open. We'll all be open. Daphne will be open. So, you know, the Caminarte is every first Friday. And we all have something to show and exhibit. And so
Yeah.
please come out and visit us.
Yeah, and we, Daphne Art Foundation, recently released Tragaluz, which is a
Yes.
journal, Arts and Culture. If you don't have a copy, reach out to me, I will get one to you.
I want one.
We also have an exhibition on view that will be up until May 24th, which is also announced in this. But that's the latest, that's my only update for now.
We have a couple of things. in the poetry scene. We're having a Slam Friday at Gales on May 11th. We're having a regional poetry slam competition. And then and you'll see it in the magazine, we just selected our Laredo Border Slam team for 2024-25, and we're traveling to Florida for a regional competition with 30 other teams from across the Southwest.
Incredible.
That is
Yeah.
nice.
I know, they're really good.
May
Our
the
local
11th, is
slammers.
that a Saturday?
Yes, it's a Saturday. It is, and that.
And you're also
there's,
featured in the
Yeah.
Rayo Luz magazine.
yeah, I've had a good month.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes, sir. And thanks to Gail, because that place is a church for us.
I always
Appreciate that.
felt that was your home.
It has always
And
been.
then COVID came along.
We get a different audience when we go there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Where else do you usually perform?
We perform at the
On the rock.
Cultura, the gardens on the rocks and Salud's Brewery.
Cultura's closing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we've moved those.
It says it's for lease, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I just saw someone post yesterday that
Yeah, it's closing. It's because there were two couples that were running it, and then one left, and so the other one decided, I guess they don't do, they can't do. But yeah,
On that note, I do want to tell everybody that next week it's the Downtown Laredo Summit
Summit, I saw that.
from 8 to 3:30 at Laredo College. It'd be cool if all of y'all showed up.
I will be.
They're bringing in a lot of speakers from different parts, El Paso, San Antonio. I think their keynote is from San Antonio, New York, all talking about taxing entities like business improvement districts, International Downtown Association, that sort of thing, and how we can collectively come together and promote our downtowns, or our downtown, and what they've done that's worked for them. For those of you that may or may not know, like El Paso has a thriving downtown. They're right along the border, so they share similar. I guess we can probably learn from them,
Yeah.
since we have a
Well,
similar.
they were the model that we used for the plan that we're talking about, because they have been able to take that 2% and make it really grow.
right.
One of the things that, I have court in the morning, I'll try to get out there, but just one thing that I've always said, something needs to be done downtown to encourage residential
That's
on
that's
the
my.
second floor of all those buildings, because
That's
it,
what I've been saying.
what ends up happening is that it kind of coalesces.
Yes.
You know, HEB was not a presence in San Antonio until they started building housing there. And so that HEB, if you've seen it, is where the old Bill Millers, close to the old Bill Millers. It's a smaller HEB, but it fits right into the scene of having a place to go buy food.
Well, we
when you're
had
downtown.
one downtown.
No, we had one, yes, but again, it was so big that it was not able to be, and it was, this one is pedestrian accessible. It's not, the one in San Antonio, if you've ever seen it. It's a really small one, but
Well, that's what we're hoping. That's been my mantra since I moved my gallery to where it is. I was on Market Street, and I actually had a lot of traffic after people coming home from work, and then I moved downtown and it's dead. And you want to know why? Well, if you don't have people living there, you don't have a neighborhood.
Right.
And I've been saying, all of those people, but I don't know, I could be wrong. I understand that the taxes on the properties downtown are much higher than any other place in Laredo. And so the business owners don't want to improve their property because their taxes are going to go up. So they're just sitting on those buildings. They're not going to do anything with them because they're going to pay more taxes. So what are we going to do? Because if you don't get them, they all have upper floors because that was the storage.
Mhm.
If you don't put residents up there, you're never gonna have a neighborhood. What do they want? They want coffee shops, little stores, a grocery store. What do you want in your neighborhood? If we're not gonna grow the neighborhood,
You're not gonna have any.
if you're not gonna get the cooperation of the business owners to do something with their buildings, it's never gonna happen. How do you
And,
get that?
and the problem, you know, having sat on a school board, the Texas taxing system, just so that, you know what we've been fighting for years in, is that everybody thinks that it's a sin to raise your property rates. Okay, that can be one argument. However, the way that the governmental entities do it now is that they keep your tax rate the same, but they raise the appraised value of your property.
Right.
And Laredo, are we doing that? No.
Oh, they raise the appraised values all the time.
Yeah, but are they keeping the tax rate the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've kept it, and the school,
Okay.
they've kept it, I mean, because when I was on the school board, that was a fight. We're raising it 1 penny, and everybody would go crazy, and then we
Yeah.
show them, look, that's just $46 more a year, but it's more egalitarian, and really, what we need for the state to do is fix the way they fund education, because your higher taxes are always with the school districts.
So.
But that's
so-
the fight.
so-
Nobody wants an income tax, okay, well, other states fund their education by income tax. Okay, income tax in Texas would be a death knell for any politician. But then how else are you gonna do it? It's always been property taxes, and then people that are elderly, that don't have kids in school are the ones going like, well, I'm funding the schools
Right.
by this.
Right.
So, but that's the issue with why they won't improve, because they lift the appraised value. So hopefully there's some kind of relief that they can, because they get tax breaks to other people
I
all the
know,
time.
and
And it would be, if you build, a unit, I mean, because I've always thought living downtown on the second story would just
Would
be
be awesome.
wonderful.
I would live there.
It would be wonderful, because,
The word is that, well, the old Rio Grande Plaza is, the investors that have it are now already starting to move on renovating that into both office and residential space.
That's awesome.
If they were to do that, that would be the start of what
Mhm.
downtown living could potentially look like, right? A high rise right along the river.
Mhm.
People pay big bucks to have that type of view. The problem that I see here is just that are we facilitating that conversation, or are we facilitating that construction? Are we are we really pushing that needle? And that needs to come from different folks, not just within the city, but just our other leaders, people that banking industry, people need to push for that. The other word is that the outlets, we'll see if they're here next year. We're losing businesses, they're
Yeah.
closing.
Yeah.
Cultura is going to be a major dent, I think, if somebody does not take that building over. It has so much potential.
I mean, the Thai restaurant is closing.
The Thai
They
restaurant is
can't make
closing.
it.
And the thing
And
is,
they went from the city, and the city wouldn't give them a break.
yeah, and so, that whole building is all, it's senior citizens, low income housing, the Southern Hotel is gonna be the same thing. The building catty corner to the Hamilton is also, low income. So that's the type of clientele you're bringing into downtown that live downtown. That's the type of quality of life you're sort of going to get. You're not going to get a chain restaurant to come in
Right.
and invest. So they need to push the needle higher instead of this sort of
Yeah.
low income bar they're going after. They need to start raising it to try to bring in the bucks, because
well, there was a report that Laredo was like the 5th or 3rd best city in the state to move into at this point, because they're recognizing some of the increases, the designation of the #1 port and things like that. And the arts groups have really kicked up their game. They really have. There's a lot of artsy stuff to do. It's just you gotta get out there. I mean, now it's no longer there's nothing to do. It's like you gotta get out there and support it. and that quality of life is what and I know it, you know, for the doctors like at Gateway, they're always, well, what is there for people that are young professionals coming in to do well? We see a lot of them at SLAM. You know, they're intrigued by those kind of, you know, at the Center for the Arts, at Gales, there's a hunger for that. I think we're doing our part. We're here, you know, giving of our time, trying to help that out. But, you know, as long as something isn't done to help those business owners,
Yeah.
because like, I don't know if you remember Club Boogaloo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a beautiful, and it was you know, it was upstairs. It was always full, but you know, I think their property value probably went up. You know, but it was a great place, and I think that's starting to. Downtown is a place that can attract that.
So something cool that's happening too, I just want to share. I'm not really related to this, but the Zacate Creek grant that the
Yes.
city's getting,
Mhm.
I think that's going to impact. I mean, by the end of 2027,
Yeah.
like with the renovations that they're doing, and they're going to improve the bridges, they're going to improve the amphitheater. Like we could, that I think, you know, once that gets improved and there's better lighting out there, I mean, that's just gonna make a major change for the people that live around the
Yeah.
creek.
And that was H.B. Zachary's original river.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
said no, and it went to San Antonio.
That's right.
So they're having a
they're-
press release
so
on
se
the
presta,
day,
you
but
know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I go jogging.
Finally,
there
like
once in a while.
finally, they decide, oh, well,
It was a good idea.
800 years later.
Better late than never.
Hey,
But
it was a
Okay.
maybe
good
this is
idea.
the moment, right?
Yeah, okay, meeting, our next meeting, date, did we do?
Yes, so we have a date, May 16th at 5:30.
Okay,
Thank you.
do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor? Move in a
Aye.
second.
Aye.
Mr. Vasquez, moved by Doctor, and whoever taking the minutes, I think.
Yes, you're Miss Angie.
I'm looking at you.
I got it.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank